Hello everyone, welcome back. We'll be continuing with the session on the echinoderm classification, and this is the last among the classes, which include the sea urchins, the heart urchins, the cake urchins, and the sand dollars. Okay, it is the class Echinoidea. Class Echinoidea, the term comes from two Greek terms, echinos and oidos. The echinos, it means spiny. Okay, and the oidos means in the form of, right? So it is the sea urchins. They are commonly known as sea urchins, and the approximately like 1,000 species are widely distributed in nearly all marine ecosystems. Sea urchins, they are specialized for living on hard surfaces. Often they are found to wedge inside into crevices and holes in rocks, and even corals they may be found. Sand dollars and heart urchins, they usually live in sand or mud, and they burrow just below the surface, and they use tube feet to catch organic matter settling on the substratum and or passing over them. The sand dollars, that's the next group, often they live in dense beds, which favors efficient reproduction and feeding among them. Okay. Now the sea urchins, as you can see over here, is a typical sea urchin. It is globular, oval, discoidal, or heart shaped with definite oral aboral surfaces. Their oral end is oriented towards the substratum, and their skeleton, it is referred as test. The whole body, it is being covered, it is enclosed in a box like shell. It is known as a test or corona, and it is formed of calcareous plates. Okay, it consists of almost like 10 sets of closely here you can find, okay, yeah, this is the what you call the plates. Okay, the calcareous plates which form the test. Okay, yeah, so here the skeleton, it consists of 10 sets of closely fitting plates that arch between the oral and aboral ends. So each of these are the plates, and these are in arch shape, extending from the you can see this is the aboral surface with the anus and the oral surface on the other side. So these plates, they arch between the radial plates, we can say it arch between the oral aboral surface. Okay, the ends. 5 rows of ambulacral plates have openings for tube feet. The ambulacral you can see here, right? Then and podial pores are there, that is the pores for the or openings for the tube feet. Okay, and these alternate with the 5 interambulacral plates. Okay, so ambulacral plates and interambulacral plates, we can find the interambulacral plates have tubercles for the articulation of spines. So that is a difference. That is, in the ambulacral, you can see here it is written ambulacral zone or ambulacrum, or the ambulacral plates if we refer it as a plate. The ambulacral plate, it have they have openings for the tube feet, which we are referring as the podial pores, while interambulacral plates, they do have the tubercles for the articulation of spines, that is the spine tubercles. So this is ambulacral plate over here, and this is the interambulacral. These are the interambulacral plates. So ambulacral plates, they are alternate with the interambulacral plates. Okay, now the base of each spine over here, the it is a concave socket, and the muscles at its base move the spine over here. Okay, and spines are often sharp, and they are sometimes hollow, and they may contain venom which are dangerous to swimmers. Okay, now the pedicellariae, you can find here, just 1 minute. Yeah, so these are the structures. If you make a section of that, we can find these structures over here. Yeah, we'll see the detail later, right? So the what you call the pedicellariae of sea urchins, they have either 2 or 3 jaws and connect to the body wall with a relatively long stalk. And the pedicellariae, it is meant for cleaning up the surface of the body, and they clean the body of debris and capture planktonic larvae, which provide an extra source of food. So pedicellariae in some sea urchins, they contain venom sacs and are grooved or hollow to inject the venom into a predator such as a sea star. So the long what you call the pedicellariae, it may contain venom, it may be associated with venom sacs, and the pedicellariae may be open, which can inject the venom secreted in the venom sac. Okay, now the mouth that is surrounded by leathery membrane, it is known as a peristome, and similarly anus by periprocte. The mouth is armed with a characteristic chewing apparatus, Aristotle's lantern, that is very peculiar of what you call the echinoids, the sea urchins. Just like respiratory tree unique to the Holothuroidea, we can see Aristotle's lantern associated with the oral region in the case of echinoidea. So echinoids, they feed on algae, bryozoans, coral polyps, and dead animal remains, and the oral tube feet surrounding the mouth, they manipulate the food. Okay, here you can see this is the oral surface, this is the mouth region. Okay, and this part, it is modified to form a structure which is referred as the Aristotle's lantern. Okay, and this part is usually close to the substratum, isn't it? So here you can see the structure of the Aristotle's lantern, this being enlarged over here. Okay, the Aristotle's lantern, it usually it is a chewing apparatus, and it is projected out from the stomach. The mouth. Okay, it is projected from the mouth, and this consists of about 35 ossicles, and they attached muscles, and they cut food into small pieces for ingestion. So here you can see that the Aristotle's lantern, they are associated with calcareous plates, right? And these are also being manipulated by muscles. You can see the retractor muscles and the protractor muscles. So these calcareous plates and the teeth associated with each of the plate, it is manipulated, or it is moved back and forth with the help of the muscles associated with that, and this helps in cutting the food into like pieces, right, and hence it is referred as a chewing apparatus. Okay, the mouth cavity, it leads into, here you can see it, the mouth cavity, and this is the alimentary canal, it's this part, right. The mouth cavity, it leads into the pharynx, from there to esophagus, and a highly long coiled intestine which ends eborally at the anus region. Okay, echinoids, they have a very large coelom, that is a body cavity, and coelomic fluids are the primary circulatory medium, just like in the case of Holothuroidea. Small gills found in the thin membrane surrounding the mouth, they are like outpushings of the body wall, and they are lined with ciliated epithelium, and gas exchange occurs by diffusion across the epithelium of these smaller gills and across the tube feet as well. You can see here the tube feet. Okay, so across the tube feet, as well as the what you call the smaller gills found very close to the mouth region, it helps in respiration or gaseous exchange, to be exact. Now the ciliary currents, they bring about changes in the coelomic pressure, and the contraction of muscles associated with the Aristotle's lantern move the coelomic fluids into and out of the gills. So actually what happens is the changes in the coelomic pressure, that is pressure of the coelomic fluid, then the ciliary currents, as well as the contraction of the muscles associated with the Aristotle's lantern, that is the protractor and retractor muscles, they actually help in moving the coelomic fluid into and out of these gills found along the mouth region. Okay, and this will help in like direct gaseous exchange between the coelomic fluid and the surrounding water, sea water. Okay, so the excretory and nervous function are similar to the most of other asteroids, echinoderms. Now echinoids, they are dioecious in nature. The gonads are present on the internal body wall. Here you can see, right, these are the gonads, are found on the internal body wall of the interambulacral plates, and we can find that the gametes, yeah, so the sexes separate and development, it is indirect with a characteristic larva, it is the echinoprocte. Echinopluteus, the echinoidea with the larva Echinopluteus. Okay. Now what are the major examples? Echinus, Echinocardium, Echinodiscus, the Clypaster, etc. are the major examples from the class Echinoidea. And here you have the the structural detail of Echinus. Here you can see the Echinus. It is bottom dwelling sea urchin, and it is a slow moving gregarious echinoderm, usually inhabiting the rocky seacoast in large groups. The body, it is, you can see it is globular or hemispherical in shape with definite oral and aboral surface or ends. The arms and the ambulacral grooves are absent. Mouth, it is seen in the center of the oral surface. This is the oral view. So mouth, it is found in the center of the oral surface, and anus in the center of the aboral surface. Over here you can see in this picture the aboral surface, it bears madreporite also. You can see here. So madreporite as well as anus, it is present on the aboral surface. The mouth, it is surrounded by, over here you can see it is surrounded by peristomial membrane, and as already mentioned, similar membrane also surrounds the anus. It is known as a periproct. Okay, it is known as a periproct. And now arranged around the mouth, they are, here you can see, and over the peristome there are 5 pairs of tube feet. It is known as a buccal podia. Okay, they are modified what you call tube feet, the buccal podia, or the modified oral tentacles. Usually they serve as chemoreceptors. Okay, and bordering the peristome are 10 branched dermal branchiae, and these are known as the peristomial what you call gills, okay, surrounding the peristome. Okay, so here you can see this is the peristome region, right, and surrounding the peristome you can see the peristomial gills. Okay, the mouth, it is armed with the chewing apparatus, which we have already explained, the Aristotle's lantern. Okay, this structure is found associated with the mouth region. Now the whole body, it is encased by a test or corona, as already mentioned. It is calcareous shell, and it is formed of articulated dermal ossicles, and borne on its surface are numerous long, stout, movable spines, sharp spines, and scattered among the bases of these spines are numerous pedicellariae. They are used, these pedicellariae, they are used for cleaning up the debris that may settle on the body surface. Okay, and the whole surface of the body, it consists of 10 areas or 10 plates, we can say, the ambulacral area alternating with interambulacral area. Okay, each ambulacral area has 2 rows of tube feet. Over here you can see the this is the tube, what you call the podial pores, or the pores or openings for the tube feet. So 2 rows of podial pores or tube feet is found arranged regularly from the aboral to the oral surface. Okay, from the peristome to the, actually it is not reaching the mouth, but it is from the what you call the peristome, what you call the periproct and the peristome. Okay, and numerous club shaped ciliary structures called spheroidea are found among the spines and the tube feet, and it is considered to be what you call balancing structures. Okay, the sea urchin, the Echinus, it is an omnivore. They feed on algae, seaweeds with the help of their Aristotle's lantern, and sexes are separate. Sexual dimorphism is not present or is not seen. Fertilization is external, development is external, with a characteristic larva which is known as an Echinopluteus. Okay, so that is about the class Echinoidea and the genus Echinus, generally known as a common sea urchin. Okay, fine, thank you.